Hey folks, it's Tom, your frugal prepper. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about working on cars from home to make a little extra money. It can be tricky and you can get yourself into some trouble because you may quote a job, and if you quote it wrong and it needs other parts and more parts, you don't want to end up in I'm just trying to break even mode, okay? So I just got done working on one, make a little extra money. It's this Chevy Suburban right here. It was brought because the owner thought that it needed new front brakes, so he bought the brakes and pads and hardware and stuff and brought it to me, and the pads are fine. So I'll show you right now what was actually wrong and causing that grinding sound. So we were actually going off of, his diagnosis, thinking the brakes were bad, but that's no problem. He can return those parts. And so it was actually the, hub assembly. And man, that thing is, check that out. Let me show you here. That thing is all crusty and moving around. That wheel wasn't too far from just coming on and off. So I got that replaced for him, and then once that was done, I took it for a test drive, started throwing a ABS code. Right. So I was like, well, I need to check and make sure that that ABS code wasn't because of any of the work that I did. So went ahead, plugged in the scan tool, read the codes. Now I replaced the right front. Yeah, and it was the left front that had the ABS code. So I diagnosed that and got that fixed for him. Was able to, it was a bad sensor. A lot of times they're just dirty or whatever, but that sensor was dead. So I was able to reuse the sensor from the old hub, clean it up, clean the face where the sensor sits, put some lube on there, clean the O-ring, all that, put it all back together, and it then was given a good, nice 300 millivolt, roughly 250 to 300, nice clean waveform on the oscilloscope, and plugged it all back in, cleared the ABS codes out of the computer, took it for a test drive. Everything works fine. Then I, driving real slow, see if the ABS pump engages, all that. It's working great. So I'll show you a little bit about how I kind of do my build. I hope you can see this. But basically I just put everything here with the description. I have labor book. That's when I use book time from my Chilton's Online. Labor actual is when I'm doing something that's not really book time. It's diagnosing or fixing a wire or something like that. That's actual time that I spent. And then I list any parts and the price on the parts. And I put like important notes on here. So, like for the labor book, on this one I put replaced right front wheel speed, hub bearing assembly, cleaned, relubed, brake pads and slide pins, installed new axle net, torqued to 177 foot-pounds and staked. I try to be very detailed like that. A lot of people probably wouldn't put that much detail, and that's probably okay. But I like putting that on there because, if they take it to some shop later on, and they're like, yeah, I had this guy work on it in his home garage. I'm like, oh, well, they didn't even torque that nut down right. That was, just put the detail on there. You really have to cover yourself when you're working on the side and at home, because every other professional mechanic out there will assume that you did it wrong. And because they've seen it done wrong so many times. Labor actual, here I put computer giving code for erratic left wheel speed sensor output and left wheel speed sensor circuit malfunction. Scope sensor, there was no output from sensor. I removed sensor, cleaned hub face, and cleaned and installed sensor from old right hub. Sensor is now outputting a clean 300 millivolt signal waveform. Cleaned and relubed brake pads, and slide pins. Cleared ABS codes from computer test drove vehicle. No further ABS problems found. So again, very detailed as to what exactly I did. And then I put like the parts on here and the cost. And so parts, I normally have customers buy their own parts, but you're always going to run into a situation where the customer's dropped off the vehicle. Maybe they live kind of far away. And you got to buy a part to get the job done. Like in this case, he thought it was the brakes. It wasn't the brakes. He can return the brake parts, but he's going to need other parts. He lives a half hour, 45 minutes away, and he works nights. So I had to go ahead and buy the parts out of my own pocket. Make sure you can kind of trust the person, before you do that. Make sure you confirm with them, like, I can get the parts, but you need to pay me back when you pick up the vehicle, right? Because people will tell you to go ahead and then be like, oh, well, I had this bill come up. Can I pay you half now and half next week? And once that vehicle's gone, unless you know that person, you're like friends with them or something, you're probably not getting any more money from them. So be careful about that. Also, if I look up parts, a lot of people won't know what kind of vehicle they have, if it's four-wheel drive or not, believe it or not, and they won't know whether it's a half ton or a full ton or, So I always try to get that information from the customer, maybe even give me the VIN number and look it all up. And then I will go get the part numbers from Advance's website or AutoZone's website and say, here's the part numbers that you need, right? Because again, sometimes they'll show up with the wrong parts, and since they bought the parts under their name, AutoZone won't exchange them for you, right? Unless they go back in. I guess that's kind of just a word and warning about parts. But I always try to keep a few $100 on hand in case I gotta buy some parts. So I also put notes on here of just things that I noticed. So in this case, left front driver's side tire is separating with a broken belt. It needs replaced as soon as possible. I also put a note in here that the flex fuel sensor circuit, low code, and ECM. That's not serious. We don't have any type of inspection that checks for check engine lights here. Steering idler arm is a little loose, but still has a little serviceable life in it. Ball joints and tie rods look good. That aired the tires to 35 pounds because they were low. Left rear tire only had 10 pounds in it. So I like putting that. If there's anything else I notice when I'm working on it, I put those things on there. That way, there's no question if it comes back that, yeah, I identified that problem. It had that problem before I worked on it, right? Because some people, you'll do their brakes and then they'll be like, now my window doesn't roll up and down. You got to kind of cover yourself there. I always try to be fair with people. If it is something I could have caused or done wrong, I've made mistakes and I always try to make it right. But, people, one is they're broke. Two is a lot of people do try to get stuff for free. And three is a lot of people just don't understand cars at all. So I always try to be honest with people again. Like I tell them the truth. I don't do work that's not necessary. That way people come to trust me and I build a relationship with them. I always attach the receipts as well for any parts. That way if they need to take them back and get warranty, they have the original receipt. Because, I have to buy them under my name because that's how AutoZone and Advance and those places do it. But if they have the receipt, they'll exchange it no matter what. So that's kind of how I do things. Try to keep the costs low, and maybe it's just a little extra money to help pay an electric bill or for whatever. A lot of times I use my extra money, like right now I'm saving up my side cash because I really need a new toolbox. And I got some taxes I need to pay as well. So, but maybe you'll just use it to kind of get some garage and tool stuff that you want. And then that stuff will help you be able to do more jobs and make a little more side money. But I try to keep it like smaller jobs so that I can work on. You'd be surprised what you can actually do with jack stands and a jack in your little garage. You can actually do quite a few big jobs. Um, there are, I don't have a hub grappler, and I don't have a press, a shop press. So there are things that I really would refer out to say, no, you should take that to a shop and have it done. But there's plenty of just common everyday things that people need done that you can do at a significant discount for them to help them out, and you make a little side money too. And I also, I help people out that might be poor, destitute, single fathers are big for me. I mean, and single mothers too, depending on the circumstance. But people that really need help, I'll help them. Friends, neighbors. Because for me, life's about helping other people. I mean, what else is there that really matters in life than people, other people? And yourself. You want to be happy. It makes me feel good to be able to help someone. I enjoy doing mechanical stuff and tinkering with cars. I find it relaxing, and it helps them out. It's good all the way around. So, my job isn't to try to bash auto shops and stuff for charging so much. Like I said, they have a ton of expenses to pay for. They have to charge as much as they charge to make a little. After they get done paying everybody. I will say that I've looked at a lot of work where people have had cars to automotive repair shops, and it is done all wrong. Or they bring it to me to get a second opinion, and I'm like, there's no problem with that. That's not what's wrong. Or, they're trying to get them to do work that doesn't need done. Unfortunately, I think a lot of shops hit hard times. They got a lot of bills to pay, and they will sell things that don't need to be done to make extra money. It's not every shop, but it's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there. I think it probably starts as, it probably doesn't really need a ball joint yet, but the boot's torn. We're going to go ahead and tell them they should replace it because we could use the little labor anyway. And then it turns into, there's nothing wrong with that ball joint, but we're going to tell them that they need to replace it because people always buy ball joints when you tell them the wheel's going to fly off if they don't replace it. Then we'll just wipe it down and wire brush it off the bolt and wipe it down where it goes with some brake clean and send it on its way. And then we get to make money on the part and the labor for something we didn't even do. Seen it. It happens. It happens every day. So, if nothing else, I can always be available to the friends and customers and people I've worked with. And they can call me and say, hey, this auto shop is saying this, this, and this, right? And I can say, yeah, that sounds reasonable, or I'm not sure, you might want to get it looked at somewhere else, right? When they take a car that I've worked on that I know is in really good shape, right, and it's low mileage, and it's been well maintained, and all of a sudden they're saying it needs $3,000 worth of work, I'm like, whoa, just have them finish changing the oil and get the heck out of there, right? So, anyway, it's kind of a little talky video, but, I think a lot of guys would like to do a little side work, even if it's just for extra tool budget money. I bought this yesterday because I've needed one for a while. Check that bad boy out. It's a Craftsman DigiClick. I've needed a torque wrench that goes to 250 foot-pounds for a while. And I always, my Harbor Freight one only goes 150, so I always have to run up and do the free loaner tool, give them $100 and take it back. And this was on sale for $55 at Sears online with a free local store pickup. And then I had a $15 off coupon. And so I got this, and I went ahead and bought the 3-year extended replacement warranty on it for like another $11. Just because there's some reviews out there where the ratchet head goes bad on these, and there's only a 1-year warranty on it. But it's real nice. You got the digital thing to set your torque, but it's still a click style wrench, but you can dial it in real exact. Nice. So Anyway, you know, that's this job that I just did is going to pay for that and then some. And I got a nice torque wrench. So, anyway, I've gone on long enough. As you can see, I'm becoming the refrigerator repairman too. Hey, people throw away old fridges. If you can fix them, clean them up, you can sell them on Craigslist to make some money. There's always a way to make a little side money. So, I'll talk to y'all later. It's Tom, your frugal prepper.